Hello, good day. Now that we're all working from home, now that I'm old enough to know better, and now that I've seen all the Star Trek series, every single one, including the animated series, which is really undervalued, I will say this. Enterprise's main problem for me was not the serialized storytelling, it was its attempt to recreate Star Trek TOS, the original series. That to me was blatantly obvious. Not at the time when I was watching it because I wasn't familiar with TOS, but watching all the series and then watching them in again, it's obvious that Enterprise was meant to be a throwback to TOS. Everything from the casting to the sidelining of the non-white characters, they even have the exact same character types. They have the white guy with the southern accent, they had the British guy, they had the captain who was always in your face and always fighting, they had the black community, well, he was a pilot, and but there was some gender swap there. The black guy who was the pilot, Mayweather, I think his name was, and I'm gonna get to him in a second. And they had Hoshi, who was the communications officer, and she was Asian. And all they did was a gender swap because in the original series, the Asian male was the pilot and the black female was the communication officer. And in this version, the Asian female is the communications officer and the black male is the pilot. And you know, they had the Vulcan female, which also did a gender swap but maintained the same role. T'Pol was the science officer, but she's female, whereas Spock, the science officer, is male. And so all the crew members were clearly meant to represent the old TOS crew, and like pretty much all the TNG and TOS episodes, the narrative centered around the white male heroes. So the three white male heroes in Enterprise were Archer, Reed, and Tucker. Tucker is the southern white guy. Think McCoy. He's loud, he's mouthy, and he knows it. And these guys were the center of the narrative, with T'Pol occasionally chiming in for some of the action. But T'Pol was mainly sidelined as she seemed to have just been there to represent a straw man argument about why humans were superior to Vulcans. So she's always wrong, she's always shut down. And I know the actress Jolene Blalock herself has gone on record to express her frustrations with the role and the way she felt her character was treated. But I think, both the actors who portray Hoshi and Mayweather may have stronger arguments. I mean, I kid you not, by the fourth season of Enterprise, I could not remember Mayweather's name. Mayweather, played by an actor's name is slipping me right now, but I could not remember his character's name. He was a face on the bridge, and in some episodes, he said nothing at all. He was just sitting there, and it was painful to see as a black woman, as a person of color. It was just extremely painful to witness because it just reminded me of Lieutenant Uhura and how she was sidelined. You could see watching TOS in some of the episodes where Uhura is doing her best to act and pretend that she's part of it too, but she has no lines and she just kind of becomes a face in the background. And they did the same thing with Mayweather and Hoshi to some extent, where they were just completely sidelined. Star Trek, for all its intent, can still consider very safe when it comes to multiculturalism, and why it, at least the original series, didn't put off conservatives, unlike, say, the more recent series. And I think a lot of that has to do with the sidelining of the non-white characters. I mean, they were there physically, but they didn't really do anything. The Enterprise series in particular, Star Trek Enterprise, Star Trek TOS, and Star Trek TNG, the narratives centered almost exclusively around the white male leads, Kurt, Spot, McCoy, um, Archer, Reed, and Tucker. So even if they meant to create a racial utopia, they ultimately created a very safe show that conservatives could latch on to and ignore a lot of the. That means Ted Cruz can fantasize that James T. Kirk would have been a conservative because he can see himself in these white male heroes, whereas, Star Trek Discovery being the main example, where the women and the racialized others have more to do than just simply uttering technical lines to the captain. They get to save the day too, they get to go on the adventure and the away trips, and they're not just simply there to be sexy. They're there to do shit, and they're there to have feelings and to struggle with issues. Anyway, I can do more videos on this topic, but I think I've gone on long enough. Let me know what you think, and if there's anything you think I didn't touch on, again, let me know, and I can revisit it. I will probably revisit this because, again, I am a Trekker now. I'm a Star Trek fan, and I've been rewatching everything, so it's fresh on my brain, and I may have a few more things to add. So that is definitely going to be part of this channel from now on. But anyway, subscribe to the Evanscape and come back for more. See you guys.